Alright, what is going on? Welcome to the channel. Alright, special video for you all here today. We are on Georgetown Pike testing out FSDbeta in the snow. Well, it snowed in the past couple days, so it's finally cleared up a little bit here. We got ourselves a nice paved road, but still, nonetheless, it's 31 degrees out. It's really cold. Some of the roads may have frozen over, and so it could be very dangerous back here. It's already really sharp, curvy roads, and we're going to test FSDbeta starting out here. So make sure your seatbelts are buckled, and here we go on a pretty curvy turn. A lot of great hiking spots out here. It's pretty deserted out right now because of the snow, but there actually is still some people parked out there, those dedicated folks out there doing some really interesting hiking out here in the snow. I can't imagine what this road was like while it was snowing. I don't know if I would have attempted FSD down this road, because when the snow is covered, it slips out, and anytime traction control kicks in, FSD basically aborts. So you gotta have to be really careful using it in the snow. Good thing the Virginia Department of Transportation does a really good job about keeping this road clear. As soon as it does start snowing, they do a really good job about icing it. See, like turns like this, I would not be able to do with snow-covered grounds. The car would 100% slip out, and at normal speeds, it just wouldn't be possible. I really like the way FSD slowed down for that turn, and took it at a more responsible speed than what I have it set at, which is 40. And it's really nice to see it adapt to the dynamics of the road, especially on a snowy day like this, especially because some of those sharp turns could be frozen, the car could slip out. So you just have to be really cautious when using it in any type of inclement weather. Even though it did clear up now, the sun is shining. Don't know how long the snow would last, but we got a decent amount here this time. We got about 4 to 6 inches in most of the western Loudoun parts. Going up into DC, they got, I think, about like 3-4 inches as well too. Fairfax County about the same. Parts of Maryland too, I know, got hit pretty hard. Up around Baltimore, they got a pretty decent amount of snow, and coastal Maryland too, up in like towards like Annapolis and that area. We got our decent snowstorm finally, and it was after 700 days of a drought with no snow. Finally, it looks amazing. If you go back and check some of my other videos out, I definitely did some snow tests. That's why I'm telling you how FSD acts in the snow. It's not the best. But yeah, I had a lot of fun driving in the snow. Especially when I got some empty parking lots out there. I was able to hit some donuts and really just learn the control of my car, being able to figure out the sense of stability. And might I say, this car has major control in the snow. Like, the stability is amazing. But of course, that's being driven in responsible speeds, and it can definitely handle itself in the snow. And this is a rear-wheel drive, and trust me when I say that doesn't even come into play because of the weight of the car. It just moves in the snow. Like, I didn't get stuck once. Granted, I'm not saying it's impossible to get stuck. It's definitely possible to get stuck. But luckily, I was able to maneuver through the entire way with no problem, which was really great to see. Knowing that the rear-wheel drive Model 3 handles this way, and know every other Tesla only performs better. So yeah, now another topic is going to be cold weather. So forget the snow. The Teslas take up more energy in the cold weather. That's a fact. Batteries tend to not perform at its best in the cold weather. So just keep that in mind. when you're driving an electric car in the wintertime, you want to increase your charging habits. You know, like, you probably don't want to let your car get under 20%, period. If you ever do let your car get under 20%, you'll notice, excuse me, in the wintertime, it says that if the car gets any colder, more battery will deplete, you know, just overnight. So imagine, like, in, you know, negative 20 degree temperature, what the battery would do. There was some nightmare stories that I read of some folks out in Chicago. Really good job about this turn, by the way. I read that some of the supercharger connectors failed in the freezing cold, and it froze, and people were unable to charge their cars. Now, who do you blame in this situation? You know, of course, Tesla's going to come out and say that the people didn't take care of their cars properly and didn't charge it enough, and you know, they're going to say that they gave all the warnings to keep it charged as much as possible. But then the drivers are going to say that the charging infrastructure didn't work, and, you know, based on their driving habits, they weren't able to charge it. Who's really at fault here? I think it's a really big learning lesson for everyone. Sadly, I would probably point the blame towards Tesla for not testing their superchargers in negative 30 degree temperature. But at the same time, that's not normal conditions. So maybe they're just gonna have to, you know, put in some kind of like wrap around their cords in the future so that it can prevent, and, you know, some of those colder states, and maybe just look at it as a learning lesson for the drivers and for the manufacturer itself. So I mean, anyone with an electric car, they should just, like I said, increase your charging habits. Don't really let your car get under 20%, and just keep in mind when you warm up your car too, it takes up more battery. Having the heat on, all of this, you know, really eats into the mileage. So just keep that in mind. You know, electricity is cheap right now here in 2024, so it tends to even out the fact that you got to use more of it compared to like gas. But then again, you know, you can charge it at your house if you have the benefit of doing that. That's where the true cost savings comes into play. Yeah, you know, so if you can take advantage of that, it really shouldn't hurt you as much. Now, the last thing that I noticed is the car definitely doesn't perform to its max potential in the freezing cold. Like, definitely under 20 degrees, like, you can tell, like, it's even if you floor it, it won't go as fast as it would in like 70 degree weather. I definitely noticed that. It's not a huge difference. It's not like the car won't drive, but it's kind of feels like it's in chill mode a little bit, where it like limits the accelerator, but it doesn't mean you can't hit speeds like 70. You just, you know, it takes a little bit longer to get there. So with that being said, you want to keep in mind these factors do come into play in the winter time. So anyone that tells you, like, you know, there's going to be no difference, I mean, it's not going to be like night and day. It's the small differences, and they even out. I don't even notice it half the time, especially if you use autopilot. The car doesn't floor itself. It drives as efficiently as possible, so you're not really going to notice the difference. I definitely warm up my car every time before I get in there, just using the app. It's just a tap of a button, defrost the car, which I only click the defrost button if it's actual snow on the car. If not, I'm just basically turning on my heat by turning on like the seat warmer. It usually enables the climate as well too, so that is you know, having that, I think it's a good trade-off for the 1-2% that it takes, because I don't have to get into like a cold car. So again, if you just do it like with the car plugged in, then it doesn't really even take that much more energy. So yeah, no takeovers on this entire drive here. Almost forgot I was driving. Just kidding. But I wasn't actually. I was supervising. FSD was driving, and it did an amazing job getting me through the most difficult parts of Georgetown Pike. And I want to give a shout out to the Tesla Autopilot team for creating such an amazing software that works. And yeah, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more. Check out some of my snow videos. Hit that like button, and look forward to seeing you again. Have a great rest of your day.